My next guest can be making her UFC debut October 1st at UFC Fight Night, taking on Julija Stoliarenko. It's Chelsea Chandler joining me here on the program for the very first time. Chelsea, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for joining me. I see you're in the car right now. I imagine you're leaving practice or going to practice. Where am I getting you?
Yeah, I'm going to practice.
Awesome. Well, don't want to make you late for that. But first and foremost, we just had UFC 279 last weekend. How cool is it seeing Nate Diaz get that win over Tony Ferguson?
That was a great fight. I mean, things couldn't have happened any better. It was like a movie, you know. It was like he subbed him at 2:09 time. It was great. It was honestly the best situation that could happen.
And last submission win for him since the McGregor fight, which is interesting too, right? Like all these kind of things just sort of worked out. So that was really awesome. Let's talk about you though. I mentioned the fight there, October 1st. When did you find out about this fight? Because it looked like you got a full camp.
Yeah, so I had an extended camp to get the weight down. It was 4 months, so it's hard to juggle when you want to peak at like 6-7 weeks in a camp. Basically, I had 2 of those, so I kind of slowed into it. And originally, I was supposed to face Leah Letson, so it kind of worked out good because the first 2 months was primarily striking, and then 2 months ago, or about a month and a half ago, they were like, "Hey, Leah Letson's injured. You're fighting Julija," and that was a complete change in everything. I had to more jiu-jitsu, so it worked out well. So I got enough of a notice to prepare for her versus the other girl, and it basically was a brand new camp.
Okay,
so,
that's good. So plenty of time, which is great. Let's talk about Julija. Style-wise, how are you looking at this fight? How do you feel like you match up against her?
I think I match up against her everywhere. My jiu-jitsu is really good. My stand-up is good, and you know, she makes mistakes. She falls on bottoms for submissions. So I think anywhere this fight goes, I'll be able to dominate.
Who've been some of your main training partners for this camp? Who's helping you get ready for the fight?
So I've been training mostly at for the jiu-jitsu portion at Cesar Gracie's in Pleasant Hill. So I've been training with black belts, Guga, Sean, and then Victor Galden, who's one of my main coaches. And we've done a ton of armbar simulations, passing the guard, doing all that stuff. So I've had very high level training partners.
That's great. And where do you do any other training? You mentioned just there do you do cross training at all?
Oh yeah. So this fight I had to do a lot more jiu-jitsu, but I train at CSA too, once or twice a week. And then I also train in Stockton. I have Felipe Martinez, my boxing coach. So I've been doing boxing every day, and Big Boss Muay Thai for my kickboxing. So yeah, I've done a lot, but I've been primarily focusing on the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Who do you get to work with over there at CSA? I know it's a pretty big gym.
Yeah, so Carrie Melendez comes in there, and so I do a lot of stuff with her. She's a little bit smaller than me, but she's really fast. So it's good. And this girl's going to come at me at 100 miles an hour. So yeah. It's sometimes the smaller person is a lot faster. You can be on your toes. I've worked with Amber's over there. I haven't really worked with her too much this camp. She's much taller than me and my opponent, so it kind of wasn't the right look. And then they have some other girls that I do jiu-jitsu with when I'm over there too. And my sister, she's supposed to be fighting too, so I have her. She's about the same size as the other girl.
That's awesome. So a lot of variety, which is great. You know, you always want that going into a fight, right? So.
Yeah. You can't just have the same training partner and get ready for a fight. You need to have different looks, keep you on your toes, get your heart rate up, so that when the fight happens, it's kind of like, oh, this has already happened in training. I'm not going to freak out about it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. How about the weight cut? You mentioned having a lot of time. How's all that going ahead of the fight?
It's going okay. The fight is now at a catch weight 140 because we had found some medical issues. I've been having some issues with my thyroid, so that was kind of the reason why my weight wasn't going down as fast. And I started medication for that, and the weight was still not coming down as fast as it needed to. So we talked to the UFC and came to an agreement on 140.
Okay, that makes sense. Why would you want to fight at 145? Because that's a division that they don't really do much with, and it seems like they could use fighters like yourself and others to make that more of a division.
Trust me, I've begged for that fight. I've begged for a fight at 45. I mean, they're signing these girls that are from Brazil who suck and are losing. That island girl, the twerking chick, she's like just lost, got choked out by a 35er, and she's asking for Nunez, and I think I would maul her. Then they have Norma Dumont, who's fighting. She gets to fight pro debuters, or basically girls with one fight, and then she gets to call out the Island Perez. And I'm just like, you're calling out these girls that are, first of all, they have shit records and they're shit fighters, and they're giving her these fights, and I'm just like, I'm on a 4-fight win streak. Why am I not fighting this girl at a weight class that I would prefer?
Yeah.
But I mean, at UFC, I don't know if they're building the 45 and they're just kind of working with the girls they've got left and trying to push them out. But I don't know, because they signed Island at 45, so I never know what they're doing. But I would prefer to fight at 45.
Okay, yeah, no, I was curious about that because I always think there's a couple girls at 35 that could move up too that have trouble making the limit. We just had Macy Chasson last week have trouble making weight in her fight, and that's been a couple fights for her now. I think she'd be better at 45 too. So it's yeah.
It's a pressure that they're putting on girls, to make that 35 weight class because they don't have a ton of girls at 45, and then I mean you see the pressure and how it turns out in the fight. Macy got barely kicked in the liver and dropped and completely, so when you cut that much weight, your chin's gone, your organs hurt. She's running 60 miles a week to make this weight.
I know.
It's undue stress on the body, but it's that's what's happening, and that's what's being allowed to happen. So I mean, here I am going to 140. So
yeah, okay, well it's interesting. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
I'm gonna have I still am thinking I've got Victor Galden for sure, Felipe Martinez, and then Cesar Gracie. I think he's gonna be coming out for this one, and then Big Boss Muay Thai. So got a pretty good corner.
How do you see this fight playing out on October 1st?
I see her coming real hard the first round, and I really could see it going anywhere, ground, standing, and then I think maybe I see it going out as a full 3-round war. I mean, there could be a finish, but I see it going the full distance and being an absolute war that I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited about. So I think she takes beatings, she takes hits, she falls on bottom. So I think it's going to be a really good fight to showcase my skills and my preparedness and that I'm well-rounded. So I'm really excited for this opportunity.
You've come through Invicta. I think the fighters you see that compete in Invicta that go to the UFC have a lot of success because, the matchmaking in Invicta is, very much on point. You don't get a lot of easy fights. Do you feel like you will have jitters at all just because you've been with Invicta? Like, I feel like a lot of the women that come from Invicta, when they get in the UFC, it's no big deal because they've already kind of fought on this big stage already.
Yeah, I talked to Leslie Smith about that because she's also one of my main training partners. She said when she went to UFC, it was like another day in the park. It wasn't like a big deal. And I went to the Apex when I was out there getting some tests done in, I think, July. And we got to watch one of the fights. And it's so quiet in there. It's kind of eerie. So I don't think I'm going to be like super nervous because I've already been in that room. I don't think there's a ton of people in there. And I think it'll be another day. Yeah, I think it'll be just like the Invicta fights. I think there were more people at my last Invicta fight than there are going to be at this fight. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
We talked all about fighting. What do you like doing on your downtime? What are some of your hobbies outside of fighting?
I train all the time. I mean, that's basically what I do. Yeah. I hunt, but I haven't really had any time to hunt in a couple of years because I'm always training. I guess watch TV and relax, but I mean,
okay. Well, are you Netflix? What are you watching right now on TV? Anything in particular? Watching any series?
Shoot, I've watched a couple different ones, but normally I'm watching on the TV like CSI Miami or stuff like that, or Blue Bloods, all the criminal stuff that I like watching.
Yeah. You mentioned hunting and you say you don't get time to do it. Do you kind of miss kind of going out in the woods and stuff? Because I know for a lot of fighters, it's very intense. You're training all the time. Sometimes you need that break to just get out of the house, get away from technology and all that, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. I love hunting. Yeah, just getting out there and it's been harder too as like civilization and everything increases it's harder to find hunting spots. You got to like go private and have friends to take you hunting, because like the public lands are just, and the fires kind of mess up a lot of the hunting too the last couple of years. So, I mean, it's something I'd like to do. Hopefully I get more opportunities in the future.
Yeah, and get like a hunting sponsor or something. You're a UFC fighter now. Maybe they can hook that up or something. I don't know.
That would be great.
That would be awesome. Chelsea, I know you got to get to practice. Don't want to make you late. If there's anyone you'd like to thank, any sponsors, any social media, anything like that you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Okay. My Instagram is ChelseaChan209. My Twitter is the same. My gym, Felipe Martinez Boxing out in Stockton, Gracie Fighter in Stockton. I've been training at Caesars up in Pleasant Hill, and my coaches, Victor Galden, Felipe Martinez, Cesar Gracie, Big Boss Muay Thai, and the list goes on. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me.